Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here today. So I guess it was one day last week, Gabriel and I were leaving the neighborhood, and it had just been raining, and we saw this gorgeous rainbow. And we saw half of the rainbow coming into the neighborhood, and then we were leaving the neighborhood. We saw the other half going somewhere else. And it was beautiful. And I keep seeing the rainbow, even your shirt, it's something that keeps coming up. It came up before that moment, and it's come up after that moment. And so I took that as my sign. It's time to review the chakras. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I've been telling this other studio that I've been teaching at, I haven't done that series with them yet. And I've been telling them it was coming for a few months now. So I thought, okay, now's the time. And I think it's also important because we're going through this massive shift of the planet. And people aren't really talking about what's happening at the planetary level right now, because we have this other thing happening that's grabbing all of our attention. But the Schumann's resonance, which is considered the heartbeat of the earth, the electromagnetic field of the earth, is continually increasing. It's been increasing since all this started happening. And they say it's going to continue to increase. And if there's an increase in that energy field within the energy as consciousness itself, which means that the consciousness amongst humanity is going to lift, it's going to ascend, it's going to be raised. So there's also a shift happening with the poles. You know, a lot of the things that are happening, all the floods that are happening, the earthquakes that are happening, all this is because of these shifts that are occurring. And a lot of this is rocking our foundation. And I talked about this a lot last year, that all these shifts and changes that are occurring at a foundational level. And last year, you might have even had some particular elements showing up in the first chakra region, since the first chakra represents our foundation. So that's what I thought we would discuss this week, is the foundational chakra, which is the root chakra. It's called Muladhara. And it's actually broken down to mean root support. So it involves the low back, the lower end of the spine, the places that are more fused, where the coccyx is, the tailbone region, those last fused vertebrae. It's the pelvis, the low back, it's the pelvic floor. It's the process of the elimination of waste. It is the legs, the feet. It's the skeletal system, the densest part of the body. It's also our circulation. I'm wearing red for this reason today, because red is the color that represents this particular energy field. The secondary color is black. With it being red, if you think about the color red, the red has a slower wavelength to it. It has a slower vibration to it. And it pulls us outward, which is one reason stop signs and the stop signal is red, because it's to get our attention and it's to make us react to it. Because it has the slower vibration, a musical instrument that kind of goes with the chakra, it's the drums. So if you're trying to balance your first chakra, if you're trying to activate your first chakra, drum circles would be good. Dancing, because you're moving your body and moving your legs and your feet. The element that connects to the first chakra is the earth. So if you're feeling like your body's got a lot of inflammation, they're saying a really good thing to help to reduce inflammation in the body is to go earthing, which is basically going barefoot outside in the soil, in the sand, in the grass, obviously not on cement, but something where you can just have your feet touching the earth. And it's something about our energy field and the energy field of the earth works together to reduce the inflammation and to get us more balanced. And I will say, I tried this on my son once. He's a soccer player, and a few years ago, he was wanting to practice soccer after school. So we had a soccer ball in the car, we went to Pinkerton Park. We were playing one-on-one, and I'm not a soccer player, but you know, I'm doing my best with him. And he's not grounded at all. And he's mad at himself because he's not doing the skill set that he wants to show off. And I'm like, dude, you need to get grounded. Take your shoes off, take your socks off, walk around in the grass for a little bit. And we both did it for like 10 minutes. He put his shoes and socks back on. He was killing it. And he noticed the difference. And he was like, wow, that really worked. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe, you can be an example for the other kids. And when you have halftime, if you're feeling off your game, get barefoot, walk around for a little bit. You never did that. It's an idea. So when we're looking at the foundation of the root chakra, it's really about our roots. It's about our family, our core family, where we come from. It's about our ancestors. It's about our conditioning. I'm always dealing with first chakra stuff because my dad was a Church of Christ Southern Baptist, Church of Christ Southern Gospel preacher. And I never resonated with all of that. And I'm still working on that stuff. It still shows up. It still presents itself. Because Rob will call me out on something and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, root of that, oh yeah, okay, that's Church Christ thing. That's where that comes from. And I'm 47, still figuring it out. So the root chakra is important because we do need to hold on to some important lessons. But the point of having this human experience on this earthly plane is to evolve. So we can't stay stuck where we started. The point is to grow, but we can't grow unless we do have some strong roots, unless we study our roots and figure out, okay, this works for me, this doesn't work for me, this is helpful, this is not helpful. So it's all about figuring all that out. Now, the root chakra is the most fundamental chakra because all the others are built up beyond that. And it's the most physically based chakra. Everything lower is more physical. When you move up the chain, up the ladder, so to speak, it's more etheric, it's more of a spiritual thing. But there are spiritual lessons to learn from the root chakra too. So when we're working with the root chakra in yoga, we're working primarily with the lower body. But we don't always have to be in a standing pose. Most of the time it's standing poses or forward folds that work the hamstrings that are going to be first chakra related. However, if you're balancing on your forearms or your hands in handstand or forearm balance, you also have to be concerned, what is the foundation of that pose? So even though it would be heart chakra, because we're using our arms and hands, it's still the primary foundation of the asana itself. So it's critical, because if you don't have a strong base, you could potentially fall. So it's all about securing your base. So when we work through the poses today, just consider the ideas behind the first chakra. And we'll work with that today. We'll bring up some affirmations. I'll tell you a little bit more about stones that are good for it as we continue. And I brought in my singing bowl that represents the note. The note is C, and I'll play that at the end.
Robbie, why do most women hold their stress and anxiety in this first chakra, lower back and hips?
Well, the hips is second chakra.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And the low back can also be second chakra.
Okay.
I think it's because we're more into relations, because the second chakra is about relationships.
Okay.
So first chakra is about family and roots and ancestors, but the second chakra is more one-on-one relationship, like the relationship that you and I would have, the relationship that you would have with your husband, the relationship you have with your child, the relationship you have with a coworker. It also involves money. But the first chakra is, do I feel safe? Do I feel secure? Do I belong here? And do I feel safe? And what are my natural instincts? It's kind of like the primal things. When we move up to the second chakra, it's about, okay, how am I going to earn my living? How am I going to provide for my family? How am I going to develop this relationship with this one particular person? So it gets a little bit more, this is a broader, it kind of goes a little bit more detailed as you move up.
I heard someone say once that women feel more responsible for their relationships than men do. And so that's why, so we carry that not just like, oh yeah, your relationship, we go, oh, it's your relationship, I have to care for it. And that's
For sure.
And it's also about sexuality. It's about what we've learned, you know, as women about sexuality. You know, lots of times it's taboo, or, you know, we don't have like the freedom that, say, men are allowed to have with sexuality. You know, I think it's changing, but a lot of that's been suppressed for us. You know, we also have a menstrual cycle. And, you know, men don't have to go through that. You know, a lot of that is second chakra stuff too. So I think there's just a lot more that women have to do. You know, women are the ones that carry children, that second chakra. You know, we develop that bonding. There is actually scientific evidence that the intuitive nature between a mother and child is like no other. Father doesn't have that, but mothers do.
That's the quintessential relationship that the mom is responsible for.
Yes.
In the womb, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and start with this in mind. We're going to do flow practice. We'll be working on standing poses and forward folds. Let's start sitting upright though. Lifting the crown of the head up towards the heavens as your sits bones root downward. Feel the contact of the earth beneath your feet. Feel established here in this place. And know that you do belong here. Feel the broadness of your lap as you're sitting cross-legged. Let your arms cascade down to rest on them. See if you can give a little boost up to your heart center. Noticing when you create that lift, the shoulders naturally draw down and back. Close the eyes, gaze in and up to your mind's eye, and start your meditation on breath. You focused on the physical form first, the earth element, and now move towards the air element. And as you're breathing in and out through the nose, know that you're increasing your intake of oxygen, which increases your intake of prana, which holds consciousness itself. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose, fully and completely. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Set your intention for today's practice that may be something different than our theme for the first chakra today. Maybe it's a simple nourishment for your mind and body. Maybe this is what you need for some contemplative food for thought, to be of a spiritual nature. Whatever your intention is, seal it in your hands, seal it in your mind and heart. And gently begin to crack the eyelids open. We're going to go ahead and come all the way up to stand. So we'll get right into the practice. Move your props off to the side unless you want to use blocks. Stack and stand on your legs and your feet. The feet are separate, maybe about 4 inches apart. Toes point straight ahead. Plug the feet down into the floor so that you feel your muscles slurp to the leg bones. Zip up through your midriff. Create some good posture and join your palms together, looking straight ahead with your eyes. As you inhale, let your arms circle wide and overhead. And as you exhale, dive in to Uttanasana. Now continue to root down through the feet, lift up through your kneecaps, contract your quads to help with the stretch of the hamstrings. Inhale, slide your hands up your leg bones, lengthen out through the crown of the head, looking out with your eyes. And as you exhale, you're stepping down the mat to plank, shifting forward, lowering down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, rise into upward facing dog. And as you exhale, curl your toes and roll back to downward facing dog. So I know we're getting right into the practice today. Ground your hands, straighten out through your fingertips and lengthen back away from your wrist. Draw your heart back towards your thighs. Press the feet into the floor so your heels get a little elevation. Let your head bow between the arms. Continue to gaze towards the feet and continue to improve your breath. On your next inhalation, step the feet to the front, rising up halfway upon arrival, and then exhale, lower down and in. On your next inhalation, take the arms to your sides and up overhead, and bring hands to Samasthiti. Ready for the second suns out. Inhale, expand open. Exhale, close into self. Inhale, sprout halfway up. Exhale, we're stepping back and lower into Chaturanga. If it's in your wheelhouse to bounce right into Chaturanga, you are certainly welcome to. When you return to downward facing dog, notice the pose is getting a little bit more refined. At first, right, the body's still waking up, the muscles are still waking up. And you may find that you're either more flexible or more strong. See if you can find the blend. Feel free to activate that Ujjayi Pranayama, where you constrict the back of the throat and allow the breath to be audible to hear like a whisper. On your next in-breath, let's bring the feet to the top, lifting up halfway. Exhale, lower down, belly first, chest second, face last. Inhale, root to rise. Exhale, Samasthiti. Gonna do one more A. Inhale, open up. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, look out and up with your eyes. Exhale, take it down to Chaturanga, building that upper body strength, covering, hold until you're ready to breathe in, and let your in-breath lift you up. Allow your out-breath to roll you back. Continuing the flow of breath as you hold the pose in stillness. Let your breath be your calming agent. Your next in-breath, bring the feet to the top of the mat, open up your heart. Exhale, melt down. So I want you to stay here for a moment in Uttanasana. Keep pressing through the four corners of the feet. Keep rising up through your sits bones and magnetize the heart a little lower towards your shins. So some of the traumas that can happen that can really create an imbalanced or blocked root chakra is physical abuse in the home as a child, neglect, abandonment, less bonding with parents, strong conditioning. On your next in-breath, come all the way up. And exhale, bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. I'll close the eyes a moment, bring in an affirmation. Salutations to the sun and to the awakening light within us all, to the dawning of a much higher consciousness in all beings. Inhale, open the eyes, take Utkatasana, your chair pose. If you can't see your toes, drive your thigh bones back until you can. And notice how you almost feel like you're gonna tip back. So now lengthen up through your side, lats. And that will distribute the weight more towards the toes. Exhale, fold straight down, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift and lengthen up halfway. Exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana, that low push-up. Inhale, rise to up dog. Exhale, take it to downward facing dog. We're gonna walk the right foot forward, ground the back heel down, coming up to Virabhadrasana 1. When you arrive to Warrior 1, we have the tendency to lean forward. So make sure your spine is erect. Head over heart, heart over hips. All right, really push down through your back foot. Plug your left thigh back as well. Keep the right knee lunging, stacking over the ankle. Spin the pinky fingers in, fly the hands higher. Exhale, bring the hands down. Step it back, take the flow. When you re-arrive to downward facing dog, we're gonna lead with the left foot now for Warrior 1. So remember the establishment of the feet. That's the primary foundation of a standing pose. This is all first chakra. Draw the right hip a little bit more forward. Spine staying stacked. Building up the fingertips, gazing straight ahead. Exhale, bring the hands down. Take the next flow. Open up space between each vertebra. Continue to utilize the breath as a way to open up more space in your mind. And it's not that we're trying to completely blank out the mind, but we are trying to sustain our concentration, sustain our attention on one thing at a time. Inhale to the top of the mat. Exhale, bow out. Inhale, chair. Exhale, hands to heart. We're gonna do another of those. Inhale, chair, Utkatasana. Exhale, forward fold over straight legs. Inhale, Sprata. Exhale to Chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. Exhale to down dog. Right foot will lead to Warrior 1. In the past, when we've done these chakra series, I've always done more of an Iyengar practice for the root chakra. Lots of blocks, lots of alignment. Today, I felt like going a little bit more vinyasa. Really more Ashtanga-ish. Left foot in the lead next. Coming up to Warrior 1. So some of the things that can hold us back in the first chakra, because the kidneys are part of the first chakra, is fear, anxiety, panic. Think about warrior pose. The warrior is about being strong, courageous, and brave. Bring the hands down, take that last vinyasa here. Holding and breathing in the spinal down dog for the sun's out. The third one in the B series is always held for a few more breaths. Inhale to the top of the mat. Open up halfway. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, chair. Exhale, Samastha. All right, we're gonna do one more and we're done with sun salutes, okay? Inhale, chair. Exhale, forward fold. This is warming us up for some deeper standing poses. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale up. Exhale, rock and roll back. Right foot forward, warrior one. Exhale, release. Beautiful, left foot leads next. External rotation with the front thigh, internal rotation with the back thigh. Because in Chinese medicine, they put the emotions of fear and anxiety with kidneys. And that is the primary emotion that can block this first chakra. You can imagine how the first chakra has been heavily influenced and impacted over these last couple of years. One last breath. Inhale to the top of the mat. Exhale, roll it down. Inhale, uplift to chair. Exhale, hands hard. All right, hands together, feet apart. Shoulders roll back. We take a little back lift here. And then on the out breath, we fold. Now, instead of doing Padangusthasana, linking the fingers to the toes, we're actually going to stand on the hands. So you're taking your hands all the way up underneath the soles of the feet. The toes are coming to the crease of the wrist. Bend your knees if you need to get there. Bow your head in, but pick your tailbone up a little higher. This is called Padahastasana, foot over hand pose, sometimes called gorilla. This pose is good, not just for decompressing the low back and stretching out the back of the legs, but it's also good for the kidneys. Think about your breath washing out any excess or unnecessary anxiety. Washing worry from the mind. Deep breathing will also shift us from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. When we're in the sympathetic system, we're more apt to fight, flight, freeze, which is just basically being reactive. Now gently release the hands one at a time. Take the hands up to your hips. Lean forward and slowly carry yourself up to stand. And then I'm going to turn my mat in this direction. We're going to step, all of us are going to step to the right, and our feet are going to face the front door. All right, Rachel, Emily, go ahead. Inhale, extend your arms. Rotate your right foot 90 degrees. Okay, Heather, see your back foot? Turn your, yes, better. That'll be better for your knee. All right, lunge the right knee. Take your right elbow to stack on top. Fly the left arm straight over the shoulder and pause here a moment. Okay, this is more of a modified way to do the side angle. I really want you to focus on firing into your back leg. Push your left thigh back and really sink down through your left foot. Now take the top arm over the ear. Keep pushing into your left heel. Keep reaching out to the left fingertips. Sarvangasana, side angle. Now dial the heart a little bit more skyward. That's it. You're not going to go very far, right? It's just a slight pivot. All right, now shine your left arm straight up again. Use your left side body to pull yourself back up to stand, stretching the right arm out, turning the right toes in. All right, rotate your left foot 90 degrees. Lunge the left knee. Go ahead and stack onto it. Fly the right hand straight over the shoulder. But notice how, because we're pouring our weight over that front leg, notice how much heavier the left foot feels. Equalize it. Plug your right thigh in. Power down through the right foot. Now that you have it a little bit more equal, take the top arm over the ear. Pushing through your right heel, reaching out to the right fingertips. And now push down through your left elbow, dial your heart slightly more skyward. And I love hearing the breath step. Inhale, take your right arm straight up. Use your right side body to bring yourself to stand. Left foot turns in. Right foot's going to turn out again. Now, when you're coming down into this pose, you're going to lunge the right knee, stack your hands onto the thigh bone, and turn to the ball of the back foot. So lift your back heel completely. You've got it. Now, place your left elbow to the outer frame of that right knee. Glue the hands together to namaste. And take the spinal rotation. You can keep your left hand down, Leslie. That's easier for you today. Back foot. Oh yeah, you can keep it down too. That's actually the traditional way to do it. So look at Leslie's back foot. That is the traditional way to do the pose. All right, exhale, unwind. So remember that if you need that for balance, you can certainly do that. Inhale, come up. I leave it out half the time because it makes my knee feel weird. But that's just me. If your knee feels safe and that's better for your foot and balance, just do that. All right, go ahead and start to rotate your left foot to the front of the mat, lunge the knee. Stack your hands onto the thigh as you revolve away from your right heel. And if you need it, you're going to offset it and plant it down the way Leslie did. Otherwise, right elbow to the opposite side of that left knee, hands glued together and twist and wind. And most importantly, breathe. Good, exhale, unwind, plant that back foot, come up to stand. Both feet are facing the front door, arms extend out shoulder height. Right foot's gonna turn 90 degrees. Lengthen over the right leg, push your hips towards that front wall. Windmill the arms down, triangle. Now, Rachel, bring your right hand more towards your right foot, or even to the outside of the foot. Now, bring your chest back my direction. A little bit more. Your head and heart back towards me. There you go. There you go. Feel the alignment? Nice. Chrissy looks great. Inhale, gently rise up. Turn your right foot in, left foot out. Triangle pose to the left side, lengthen out over that leg, push back to the hips, windmill the arms down. So you can even glance down below your left shoulder. Is your left rib cage stacked over the left leg? That looks great, Rachel. That's good, you guys. Think about this space. I'm gonna come over here so you can see. Think about this space here. Sometimes we're stacked correctly, but we're not lengthening here. You want to lengthen out through that space between your navel and your chest. Instead of collapsing here, reaching out. You got it. All right, inhale, build yourself back up. Relax your arms, left foot turns in, right foot turns out. Okay, we're gonna offset the left foot like Leslie did in that other pose. Offset it so it's more like you're not on a trapeze line, right? Not a straight line. Your left heel is not in line with your right. It used to be taught that way, but it's better to do it a little wider. Square your hips. All right, from here, take your left arm forward. Left arm reaches out and then reach over the right leg. Bring that hand down, spin to your right and shine the right hand up towards the sky. Well, Stephanie was wise. She had her blocks back there. Squeezing the right hip in. This is a challenging pose. Exhale, release the right hand. Bring the hands up. Focus on foundation first, right? That's the feet. Left foot turns. Right foot's gonna offset and turn in at an angle. Once you have the foundation of the feet set, you can bring it up to the legs and you can square the hips. We're gonna take the right arm and extend out over the front leg, settling the hand to the floor or to a block so that we can revolve into the twist, Parita Trikonasana. So in the Iyengar tradition, in the beginner classes, they only work on standing poses. That's because the standing poses will start to build up the strength, the flexibility, the agility needed for more of the seated postures. All right, exhale, bring that left hand down. Think about it, standing posture is primarily root chakra, sitting posture is primarily second chakra. Okay, so it's kind of moving up the ladder, moving up the chain that way. Separate your feet again. Take them wider if you extend your arms out, because you want your wrist and your ankles pretty much in the same plane of existence. Good, exhale, fold. When you bring your fingertips down to the floor, check in with where your weight's rolling in your feet and try to even it out. And once it's evened out, walk your hands back, squeeze your elbows towards each other, bow your head so that you're collecting at the crown of your head. Now, if your head happens to touch the floor like Rachel, I don't know if you're in the practice of coming up to your toes and lifting into headstand.
Not
No?
in a long time.
You're like, no. You don't have to. But this puts you in a good position to do that if you were in the habit of sensory feelings up. So I didn't want to stop you. Thank you. One last breath. Affirming here as you hold. I am safe. I am secure. I am safe and secure. Travel the hands forward, lengthen out the vertebrae. We're going to take the right arm and sweep it up towards the heavens. Exhale, bring that right hand down. Inhale, sweep that left arm out and up. Honor your body's limitation. Don't push back, push past your edge. I used to be able to get this arm straight up, now I can't because I'm having an issue with Lowe's foundation stuff. It's been since I closed the studio last year. My pelvis was literally twisted. Literally had twisted. That's what the chiropractor said from the x-rays. I'm like, yeah, foundation, that makes sense. And lower the left hand. So keep your hands on the floor. Turn your toes towards the corners of your mat. Lunge the right knee into Sarvangasana. Now you can do it one of either ways, right? You see Rachel flipping the left toes up, which is more hamstrings. You see Christy and I staying on the flat foot, which is more inner thigh adductors. So it depends on what you're aiming for. And you can even change it up as we mix it up. So skate over to the left side, and then we'll surf back and forth between the two. Those of you doing the recording, if you couldn't see Rachel, I'll demonstrate really quick. It's turning the toes up. And it gets the inner thigh, but it gets the hamstrings too. So if you love hips, right, be sure to come back next week. Second chakra is all hips. We're getting hips here too, though, right? Yeah, hips are included in this. All right, when you're ready, we're gonna come back to the soles of the feet. Bring the hands up to the hips. Straighten out through your legs and slowly rise back up to the top. Good, when you rise back up to the top, you're gonna turn your left foot to the front of the mat, and you're gonna step to the front of the mat. Straighten out here again. Bring your arms up, but we're gonna do chair differently. Slide your thigh bones back so you see your toes. And then start to lift up. Place your palms together. Breathe here. Exhale, straighten the legs, fold straight down the middle. Inhale, take downward facing dog. And from Affirmations, we're gonna come down to the right knee. We're gonna take the left leg out in front. And this is where you may need a block to sit on. Because we're bringing the seat down inside the right heel. And I know this does not work for everyone's knee, so please be cautious. Evidently, it's not an issue for y'all.
It is a time.
So place your left foot, lift the arms up overhead. That will help to create some space in the low back, and then we're gonna hinge over and fold. Shine your heart out towards your foot. Make sure the toes stay lifted instead of turning out one side or the other. Build up, lean to your left hip, take the weight off the right foot, bring it around, connecting that foot to the inner thigh and opening the hip. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Exhale, fold down. It looks like everyone can grab your foot. So in this instance, let's take the right hand, cross it over to the pinky toe side. Left hand's gonna crisscross over to the big toe side. Feel your belly button and spin it over towards the top of the left leg, and then continue to shine the heart forward and out. It's a little different way of entering the pose, Untitled. I like this way. I learned this from my Yangar years ago. He was like a special man. He used to come down here every year. He would say, chant from your pelvis, sing from your, you know, I usually sing for this diaphragm, but there's another diaphragm. Sing from the pelvic diaphragm. Yeah, it is. Inhale. We're gonna lift the right knee, flatten that foot, and you want some space. right? You want some space between the two. Because we're gonna take the right arm to the inside, and we're turning the thumb down, that, and up, literally kind of twisting the arm to bind it in front of the shin. And then the left arm reaches out, and then this circles behind the back. It's okay if the hands touch or not. Push down through your left thigh bone. Gaze up towards your toes. What's that?
Balancing pose
From here? Oh, this?
from here.
Yeah, let's do it, since you mentioned it. So you're just keeping your arms bound. Yep, and lifting up, you got it. Flex and float the foot. Yeah, it does look cool. All right, place the foot back down, keep the bind. And we're gonna slowly rotate around to the left. Gazing over that left shoulder. Sorry. That's okay. I like the ringtone. It reminds us old school.
That's what it's, that's the name of it.
I like it. It's not as alarming as what we have now. Really. Exhale, release. Okay, once you release that side, we're gonna take the right leg out, lean to the right hip. We're gonna come to half saddle. Like we did to that other side, yep. And yes, you may need a walk on this side. Lift the arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Turning internally, left and right, and all around. Life's harmonies are truly mine. Inhale, slowly come up. Lean onto that side. We'll come to Shasana. Lift the arms up, and we'll go ahead and crisscross the hands on the way down. Since I saw that you can catch your foot earlier. If you can't catch the foot, no worries. The arms can be anywhere. Spin that navel over towards the top of the thigh, gaze up towards the toes. Now that is the traditional way of looking or gazing, but if that's not good for your neck, you can obviously stretch it out and gaze down. Inhale, let's build back up. Now lift the left knee, flatten the sole of the foot, keep some space between it and the leg so that we have space to extend the arm through that area. And you're turning and twisting the arm to bind it in front of the knee. Your right arm is moving around behind your back. When you're ready, we'll move into that balance. So we'll come back down to both sits bones. Keep the arms bound around the knee, lifting, flexing, floating the foot up. Good. Exhale, stepping it down, keeping the bind, and we'll take the minor twist to the right. Good. Exhale, unwind from that pose. Slide your left leg out. Lift both arms, flex both feet. Exhale, pour down. So these type of forward folds are, you know, great for the first chakra. They're also good for the second because we're hinging from the hips. So first and chakra are really more intertwined than we probably realize. Some of the stones that are good to use for first chakra is bloodstone, red jasper, garnet, rubies, right? Anything red, but you can also use black obsidian, black, what is that, tourmaline? What are some other black stones? Onyx, yeah. Any of those are good for the first chakra. I have a grounding stone that I took to a concert a couple weeks ago and it fell out of my pocket, I think, so now I can't find it. But you can also use it as a gratitude stone. It's really flat and it kind of fits in the palm of your hand. And you can rub your hands on it. Took it to the concert because I was a little nervous, even though it was an outdoor concert. I was a little nervous about going. So that was my protective stone because the black is about protection too. I'm curious about. Yes. Yeah, we need some. We just don't want it to rule our world.
Again, when you put your hand on hot stove, you've got to fear.
Yes, yes. I think that may be another reason why the color red, right?
Right.
And red is like alert, warning, you know. Can also be passion. You know, that's why there's so many bad redhead jokes, right?
Yeah.
They just assume we all have tempers. All right, so we were working with, right, the legs a lot today. I'm gonna give you a choice. Grab a block. I'm gonna give you a choice for the inversion we're gonna do, because I know not everybody likes shoulder stands. I'll show you that in just a minute. Your first option would be to find a block. If you want to do active bridge, you can do active bridge, but you may want supported. And you can even fly the legs up, because, okay, another good thing about the root chakra is it governs our circulation. And so when we're inverted, this is actually really good for our circulation, really aiding and helpful for the heart, because gravity's helping the body bring all the blood from the extremities back in its direction. So you can do the waterfall and bridge. Okay, that's your first option. The second option, legs more, pull out pose. And then from plow pose, it's actually fun to kind of play around with this shape. I don't know if this actually has a name. I've never heard it called anything. And then eventually coming up to shoulder stand. So I'm not overdoing my shoulder stand because I've got a neck thing that I'm working with. But choose one of those sequences. If you want waterfall and bridge with a block below the sacrum. Or if you want to roll back to your plow, legs over the face. Hands supporting your low back, giving your hips a little boost up. Maybe playing with that L-shaped formation with the legs. Eventually moving into Sarvangasana shoulder stand. You're going into shoulder stand, point your toes, roll your thighs inward. Your hands are kind of walking down towards your shoulder blades. If you're in waterfall, please keep your feet elevated over your hips. You don't want the legs angling towards the face in that pose. Oh, I love how some of you are having playtime. You can absolutely get expressive. It's fun to do.
I'm pretty sure Graham Pressure taught me that.
Yeah.
Pressure.
She taught me that when you're doing.
Yeah, that's me too.
She's the only teacher that I've ever seen besides myself that teaches that pose.
I've never
I'm
seen
like,
it
where did
anywhere.
she get that?
I've never seen it anywhere ever.
I learned it from her too. She called it dolphin.
And it was a third eye exercise at the time, I remember specifically.
Makes sense, because we're draining everything that direction and then the knee comes to the brow. All right, if you're ready to roll out from your shoulder stand series, contract your abdominals. Slowly lower down. If you've been in waterfall, bring the feet down. Lift up to remove the block. And I'm gonna dim the lights because we are ready for Shavasana. You may want to, I always like doing that two-step. When I come out of an inversion, I like to hug the knees in. I like to roll or do a supine twist. So if you're feeling that need as you come out, please do that before you drop into your restful pose. That way you're honoring your intuitive guidance, your body's intelligence. If you need any extra props for any reason, never hesitate on just giving me a wave or asking. I'll be happy to bring it your way. I'm going to take you through a little guidance in Shavasana today concerning the first chakra. The first thing I would like you to imagine is when you're breathing in and out the nose, try to visualize a red beam of light. Starting in your head and shining down through the vertebrae, almost like a flashlight coming on. Let that red beam of light come down through the spine into the tailbone region, and then allow it to span out from there across your pelvis, down through each leg and foot. As you're picturing this red beam of light shining down into this area of the body, I'm going to recite some affirmations that are good for this first chakra. And when you hear it, repeat it silently within. I am centered. I am grounded. I am centered and grounded. I am safe. I am secure. I am safe and secure. I am grateful. I am fearless. I am grateful and fearless. I love my body. I trust my body's wisdom. I love my body and trust my body's wisdom. I belong here. I trust my needs will be met. I do belong here and trust my needs will be met. Play this singular bowl just so that you can take in sound for the first chakra. Bell tone begins to fade away. Start to improve the quality of your breath, the depth of your breath. Go ahead and start to wiggle the fingers and toes. When you feel ready, closing the knees into your belly and chest if you're flat on your back. Cradle The knees to the chest, rock side to side. Give some love to the kidneys. Roll to one side of your body. Come up to take a seat. Let's end today's practice sitting in Dandasana, which is staff pose. Have to put a little bit more effort in your core to keep your posture held up. But if you press through your hands, it can also lift your chest. So it's not all core. So this week in my classes will be focused on this first chakra, this first energetic field. Place your hands now to prayer position at your heart. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Let's just stay.
Yeah.
Namaste right here.